Yes, awesome. So if you are tuning in, welcome, welcome, welcome to one of my other free 30-minute-ish classes. So we're back to Sunday. This is day 8 of my 14 days of free classes. And today is Sexy Sunday. Here's Bolt. He's going to assist. He's very good at floor work. So we're going to be doing an exotic floor work choreo today and just kind of brushing up on some exotic floor work foundational movements too. So if you'd like to participate, you just need some floor space. Knee pads are great. I recommend them. And if you want to do heels, throw your heels on, but you can do this barefoot as well. If you're going to go with a barefoot option, throw some socks on so you can slide your toes around. All right. So first things we got to do is get Bolt out of the way. So, hey, Bolt, go over here. Go lay over here. There's a good boy. All right, lay down. Lay down. Down. Okay, I know he's like likes to be in the middle of all the action. So he's going to be my audience. So if you're getting ready to get started, welcome, welcome. Come on in. Go ahead and find a comfortable place to sit. You can sit on your knees or you can sit down on your hips if you want to. But let's just get our bodies a little loose and limber before we get started. So we're going to start with some big shoulder rolls. Good. Checking in with the core. We want to go ahead and elongate the spine so the tailbone's nice and heavy. Take those shoulder rolls the other way. We want to stay tall, so create space in the vertebrae. Center of the ribs are pulling in and down, and belly button is pulling back. So you got to get this turned on from the get-go. Take your head, drop it down and up. Get ready if you want to do some hair flipping action and get that neck warm. We don't want to give ourselves whiplash. And bring it to center. Let's look over one shoulder and then over the other shoulder. Good. And if you'd like to throw on some like slow, groovy music, kind of get you in the mood, I recommend that as well. I have mine playing lightly, but not too loud. Bring it to center. And we're going to tip side to side. I can't play it too loud or else I'll get kicked off for music violations. Boo. Good. All right, and we're gonna take these into half circles. So drop the chin to the chest, rock one ear to one shoulder, chin down through the center, rock your other ear to the other shoulder. So slow rock, side to side. Still staying tall through the vertebrae. You can inhale one direction and exhale the other direction. Good, and let's bring that into center. Let's move the ribs a little bit. So you take your palms on your thighs again, pull the shoulder blades down and together as you push the chest forward, and then you're going to scoop the belly button in, create space in the shoulder blades behind you. So pulling forward and rounding back. So pull and push, really focusing on what's going on in the shoulder blades. Ooh, opening the front of our body and opening the back of your body. Good. Excellent. So staying here, we're going to move the ribs side to side. So think of your ribs like a little typewriter, ching, but nice and slow. We're trying to keep the hips stable and not moving. So we're isolating that movement up in the torso. Good. And then draw some big circles with those ribs. So putting all of those movement patterns together. Ribs to the side, open the shoulder blades at the back, squeeze the shoulder blades down and together as you press to the center. Yes, and other way. So an important part, I think, of floor work and exotic floor work is being able to isolate different parts of your bodies. It gives you a really big sense of control. It makes your movements look better and oozier, which is always the goal here. All right, shake that off. Now we're going to focus on the hips. So you can take your knees just a little bit wider apart. And I want you to think of setting the hip down to the side. But as we do this, it's going to be a big stretching motion, okay? And I want it to take so long that you don't really even feel the weight shift to the ground. So what I don't want to see is this plopping, right? We want to take our time. So I'm going to start elongating the side of my body, that's hip that I'm going to sit on. I'm going to slide it off my tush. And as I do that, I'm lifting through the top of my head, and my head's kind of reaching in the other direction. So by the time you've done the movement, you're sitting on your hip, and you never really saw the weight transfer. All right, let's try that to the other side. So lift the hips off the touch, push over to the side, lifting through the top of the head, reach, 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 and bring it down. Good, so you can take this side to side. You can add some of those hands in there. So slide up the thighs, maybe slide up the tops of your body. You can play with the hair. Just kind of whatever feels good and groovy to you. Very nice. Good, so now we're gonna slide over to the side. Place that same side hand down under the hips, lift through the body, and think of shooting the knees forward by tucking them into a sort of fetal position and push them back. So we're gonna do a little pivot on the side of our hip, right? But now we're isolating the lower body. Notice I'm not opening and tucking in here. Yeah, so you should feel your hips on both sides starting to work. So then we can isolate that movement. We can pull the legs together, extend the back leg first, bottom leg, and then the top leg. Tuck the top leg, tuck the bottom leg, push back to center. Tuck, reach, reach, tuck, tuck, and in. Now we're gonna go back to our seated kneeling position. To do this, we're gonna have a push to help us lift the weight off the hip. We're gonna open this leg over to the side so we create that stretch feeling again. And then we're gonna go hips, ribs, head, and then slide it all the way over to the other side. Same side hand goes down. Let's practice those knee movements, scooping in, pushing back. I'm not keeping a lot of weight in the feet. This is allowing my hips to create them to pivot. I'm using that core still. We're sitting up tall. Good. And then we're gonna pivot, extend the bottom leg, extend the top leg. Tuck and tuck. Pivot, reach, reach, tuck and tuck, and extend back. Good, and it doesn't really matter which leg straightens first. It's totally up to you. It just gives it a different look. So you could do top leg, bottom leg, and that's fine. All right, come back to sit, reaching with the hips first. Very nice. All right, so talking about the diving, because we'll do some of this today. When we do a dive to the ground, this is when we get our belly on the ground, okay? And we just don't want to go like, that's boring, right? We want this big, slow, elongated movement. It just takes forever to get there, and you're enjoying each sensation as you go down. The side, like your hair coming across your face, your skin sliding against the floor, your hips are gonna be up. So we want it to feel sensual and look sensual too. So 2 dives we can do. One is a head-initiated dive. So I'm gonna extend the arms in front of me, kind of like I'm gonna end up doing a push-up or a tabletop. I'm gonna think of my head weighing like 1,000 pounds. Call this the heavy hair, right? So I'm gonna listen to the ground with one ear as I tuck the head down, and then I'm gonna scoop the head forward, like that floor is just telling me a sexy little secret, all the way down. Now you have 2 options here, right? You can reach the arms further, so you can slide down, hips coming down last, or you can slide halfway down and then push the legs out behind you. Just 2 different styles. You can also do that leg push from just a sitting position, and you can go back, 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 right from where you started. Yes? So to get back up, whichever position you do, if I want to do that head initiated dive down, I come all the way down, right? I want to think of reversing the motion. So I'm gonna lift with the tailbone first. I'm gonna have that big push up and push away feeling with the arms. So I bend the knees, I lift the tailbone, and then I begin to push. I'm letting the spine open, sitting the tailbone back, roll through the spine, and come up head last. All right, now if we did the foot pushback version, so maybe you're sliding on your toe rockers there. To come back up, I want to bring my legs and reverse it into my hands. So I have to lift the tailbone again, and I need to reach long. So strong ankles, reaching that leg away from me so I can begin to tuck the butt in. Now, depending on your flexibility in your spine, you might need to get a big push and kind of get your belly off the ground a little bit so you can come back to that tuck position. So those are 2 ways you can dive to the ground. One other thing I'd like to talk about is wavy legs. This is one of my pet peeves, so I love breaking this down and talking about it. So wavy legs, especially like in a straddle, it's not a leg initiated movement. It's a movement initiated in the hips. So getting the pelvis to move, using your obliques to assist with that is really important. So you can start practicing this by coming back onto the forearms or coming back onto your hands, whichever you want to do. All right. Keep the legs tucked. And then I want you to think of pulling one hip into the rib. And you'll notice as a result, my tailbone starts to point in a different direction. I can come through the center and pull the other hip in. So this is the hip initiated movement. This is what starts everything, okay? This is more important than the legs. You can do that with your legs straight, all right? So pretend like you have little headlights on your butt cheeks and you're shooting your headlights from one side to the other. Yeah, it should be a lot of work because you're using your muscles. Now, if we did this from a straddled position, again, it's all about the hips. So I'm pulling one hip bone in, pulling the other hip bone in, keeping it strong. Yeah, all right. So then to finalize and make the wavy leg feeling, the wavy legs are not so much a knee flexion, a knee bend, okay? Because if we do that and we just focus on bending the knees, you get that weird, like, it looks like you're having a temper tantrum look. So I like to think of it as a micro bend as you pull the hip into the ribs, and then it's a big push to the back of the thigh, extending the leg as that hip lengthens, that side lengthens down, all right? So if I did this with one leg only, kind of go this way, all right? I'm gonna soften the knee as I pull it in, and then I'm gonna do a big push away. Soften the knee as I pull the hip bone into the ribs, and then big push to the back of the leg, all right? So notice, you can see how this leg's just kind of going along for the ride, and that's how much the pelvis moves. So if you do both legs at the same time, you could do both legs waving in tandem with each other. So you soften the knees, pull back, push away. Soften and pull, soften and pull. I'm not doing a big flexion, okay? If you do the opposite side, you're gonna pull the ribs in, that's when you soften the leg, and then push the hips away as you straighten. And then you do both legs from there. Smaller movements actually look better here than that stuff. Because then you just look like a crazy spider legs. Cool? That's my little mini lesson on hip waves and waves. All right, so let's dive into our little choreo. Keep an eye on the time here. How are we doing? Good. All right. So we're gonna start sitting on the side of one hip. Should feel familiar. We're already here earlier. Now we're gonna take the top hand, same as the top leg, bring it underneath inside the thigh, okay? So it's this like scooping under feeling. As I do that, I kind of open the front of the chest and stick my butt behind me. Open the leg, slowly coming in, this little clamshell look here, okay? Now, since I have heels on, I'm trying to push the weight into the toe rocker, not into the heel of the foot. This is what's gonna help create that long line through the ankle rather than you start getting these like clunky bent knees, right? Bent ankles. So I'm pushing forward, almost no weight here. This hand can come up after you open, push to lift the hips, and you can give me hip circles here. You could do body waves here. You could do little hip pushes. Right? This is kind of just like a little do your thing moment. Then from there, we're going to extend the bottom leg through like we practiced earlier. We're gonna bend the top leg, bring it through. And as I do this, I sit back onto the forearm and I wanna end in a pike-ish position, okay? So you're coming in, open, give yourself your little moment here. All right, then you're going to open through. Notice I'm pushing my butt to the foot. I'm gonna go back onto the forearm, other leg comes down, And then we're in this little pike position. We'll give ourselves that moment of self-adoration. Remember, your audience is gonna look where your hands go, okay? And then from here, I'm gonna bend the bottom leg, extend the top leg, pushing through the outside of the ankle so I can open in. Hey, we were just here. So give me some of those wavy leg straddles. Very nice. Now, from here, we're gonna continue rocking the weight in the direction we just went. So I'm gonna tuck that leg, roll and reach over, bring thigh to thigh, knee to knee. So now we're on the opposite side, okay? Now we can stylize this. So if I did that first pike adoration, I brought the legs up. You can add in like curly Q legs as you come into here, right? You can add in a little swirl kick as you go down. Could talk about swirl kicks on another day, all right? This is where you get to have a little bit of fun. Now you're gonna push that front leg in. So we're coming into that little side sit position. I'm gonna lift my weight and then I'm gonna push to the back arm, lifting my hips off the ground. Drive the weight towards the knees, open the front of your hips and sweep those ankles behind you. Continue sweeping the ankles until you can sit down on the other hip. Now, this can be a single arm move or you can use both arms. Really depends on your comfort and flexibility. A little pro tip for these, if you're not quite as flexible in the hip flexors and the quads, if you take the arms way back, right, you can still do this move, right? The closer they are in, the more difficult it's gonna be depending on your flexibility level. So we just finished our wavy legs, came over, ankles together, lift to open, one hand or two hand, and then continue sweeping it over. Arms come around. So it's this like big windmill arms. Or you could just do like a slow groovy movement, whatever you want to do there. Yeah? Okay, so let's try all that from the top. So we're starting here. Open the leg. I like to give myself a little like, hey, wrist attitude. Give me a little movement here. Whatever feels good. Extend the back leg. Extend the top leg. Pull it in to your pike. Give me that self-adoration moment. Good. And then we're going to peel the front leg, peel the back leg, come into your wavy legs, however you want to do those, bent legs or straight legs, right? I'm going to rock over to the hip, bring that other leg with you, sit up, sweep around, hands come over. Woo! Pretty good so far, yeah? Well, let's add on just a little bit more. So from here, we're going to sweep that back leg, the one that was sitting over there trailing, across again. This is going to start to look familiar, okay? And then we're going to go into a quadrupedal position, all right? And we're going to use our toe rockers for this. So the quadrupedal position is kind of like a lazy down dog, right? So I'm going to do it from the side so you guys can see this. So I'm reaching this leg. I'm going to think of putting my weight into the arms. As I lift the hips, I'm going to push on the front of the toe rockers and come into this position. So there's your down dog, there's your like lazy down dog. And then I swivel the knees over. What you have to avoid here is just using the front of your feet or using the bottom of the heels. Does not look pretty, all right? If you're on your toes, you don't have shoes on, you could roll over the top of your toe knuckles, or you could use the ball of your foot, okay? Work with what you got. So this requires strong ankles for sure. If you're not sure what to do with strong ankles, check out my Instagram reels. I posted a little like quick, here's a few exercises you can do to strengthen your ankles. So you can find that there. So come over, press and lift. Now I'm gonna turn the knees in the direction I just came from so I can sit down on the trailing leg. The front leg becomes the back leg. So if I were to do it from this direction, y'all are my audience. This is a butt to the audience move. And you think I kind of like trying to peek through your legs. So I swept the leg over, windmill the arms behind me, look up, look down, and then we're gonna end with this foot on the ground, this leg lifted, so we can come into a high kneeling lunge. So let's try that from our straddle. So we're opening into the straddle. We have the wavy legs. We're gonna tuck to the opposite hip. We're gonna do those little windshield wiper feet all the way to the opposite hip. Back leg, top leg sweeps around. Do that windmill behind you. Push and lift. Coming to the other side, and then bring yourself up. Cool? All right, just a couple more things here, and I'll be finished for today, little mini. So when we're in our lunge, I love a dramatic lunge in heels. So I'm gonna really push to the front of the shankle, your shin ankle, and get onto that toe rocker and drive the back hip flexor forward. So this is a moment where you can do like an arch, you can do these guys, you could do another self-adoration moment. You can have some fun with this. Once we're here, sit the butt back slightly, both hands come towards the front foot. Okay, so you end up in this like kind of bent position. We won't stay there long. Boop. And then we're going to lengthen that leg that was lunging by turning the inside of the ankle to the ground and then pushing the ankle away. So here we did our thing, hands down, extend the leg. Now we're gonna do a knee pivot move next. So that knee that you're on back here, you're gonna keep the weight off the back foot a little bit so you can, again, use those obliques, tuck the hip into the ribs, push it away. Tuck, extend, tuck, extend, right? We can take it long legs. You can also add that wavy leg in here. You can make it really big. Great to kind of end with the ass forward, your butt forward, because that's always a pretty position, sexy when we get into our floor work. So you can do these guys. We can add in a back arch kick. All right, lots of fun things, but I want you guys to have a little fun with it. So let's come back to, we just finished the windshield wiper feet. Legs go over. We're gonna do that lazy down dog, up and around, lifting into the lunge. Take a moment in your lunge, have some fun with it. Hands go down, leg extends. Give me a little pivot one, maybe a pivot two, give me something else, boom. And then I want you to end with your leg pointed forward. I'm turning the top of the foot to the ground to create a longer line in my leg, and I'm not putting weight into the bottom of the foot. We're here, okay? And then from here, you can roll the hips, little kitty cat butt circles, all right? And then we can slide the leg forward, slow and dramatic, push up, extend the back leg, and think of sitting on the back hip so you come into a fake split. Okay, great for everybody. Anybody can fake a split. If you want to do your full split, go for it. I'm not warm enough for it today. Heel kick, always great. Bring the legs together. Push hips back, kneeling, chest roll, and dive it to the ground. Any of those ways you did before. Lift the hips slightly. You're going to drop the front hip down. Boom. All right. Then you're going to tuck the feet, pull the knees in, push back, and we'll end there for today. Yeah? So let's try it all from the top. And then this will be archived on YouTube and Instagram, so you can always play back, smooth it out, add more to it if you like. So we started sitting on one hip. We're going to open the leg through that little clamshell, slow and dramatic. Move the hips. Slide the back leg through, push your butt to the heels, bring both legs in. Good. Little self-adoration moment here. We're going to open into your straddle, wavy legs here. Tuck the far leg, come over. You can even add a heel kick clack there if you want. Sweep into the windshield wiper legs, coming over. Leg sweeps, look behind you, quadrupedal, lazy down dog, bring it up. Here's your little arch moment. Hands come down. Good, leg sweeps, maybe a little kick. Boom, bring it down. Little tiny circles here. You can add in the hands if you want to. And then slide the leg forward, lazy split. Bring it down, legs together. Push back, hips to heels up high. Give me a head chest roll, and then listen to the floor. Dive it down or push it back, whichever you feel like doing today. Lift the tailbone, big drop, tuck the legs, push the hips to the heels, and come on up. There it is. Nice work. So hopefully you guys had fun with that today. Like I said, this video will be archived, so you can always pop back to my IGTV or onto my YouTube channel and bookmark it, save it, do it later. It should be up pretty fast, so you can get that pretty quickly if you want to keep practicing it now in the moment. Have questions, hit me up in my DMs, let me know. Again, this was day 8 of 14 days of free mini classes with moi. So I hope you guys are enjoying these. If this is your first time popping in on one of the live classes, you can go back into the archives, see some of the other ones that we've done. I got a mix of like sexy pole, technique pole, floor work, and fitness classes kind of all rolled in. So you get to experience a little bit of everything that I do. And next week, I'm going to have an exciting announcement. So hope you keep popping in so you can be a part of that. And thanks again for tuning in. Have a sexy Sunday, my friends. Bye.